Hey there, this is Katherine Cartwright. Welcome. Today's video is a product from Diamond Press. This is the 3D lantern that is going to be available at hsn.com for the July craft day. And it is stunning. So this is going to fit the larger Grand Marquee, which is the today's special, a larger die cutting machine. I've got another video on that, so I'll link it in the description. But these are the dies that you get, and then there are a bunch of instructions. You have a ton of options. You can do it with kind of a lattice piece in there, or you can drop in this different piece that has a cardinal on it. And then there are a ton of dies. You can see all of the dies. There some flowers, some poinsettias, that kind of thing. Just a lot of fun. So I'm going to put one together in this video, and then I'll show you two finished ones in the end, because I made one on camera and then I made a second one on camera, but I'll show it to you. You also receive ribbon, this beautiful red and green ribbon. Okay, so I'm going to start. I'm going to put the lattice piece in there. I need to get the right folder. There's a big folder that comes in the Grand Marquee bundle, and then a smaller folder. And both of those folders are still larger than the original Marquee. If you have any questions, I've got videos on the Grand Marquee that I'll put in the description if I'm causing any confusion. But this is the larger machine that's coming out as a today's special. And so I'm using this to cut these pieces. So I'm dropping in the lantern pieces here, the little, I'm going to call them lattice. That's what it looks like to me. And so you can remove that. So you could have obviously a solid lantern, which you wouldn't want, because and I guess if you didn't want to see anything in there, that would be fine. But you can drop these pieces in and you can see how easily it cuts that out. So you're going to need 4 pieces of the top, okay, and then 4 pieces of the base. And these are going to go together so as such. There are instructions included in this kit, so if I miss anything, if I'm not clear on anything, you can follow along that way too. But there is a folded edge here, a score line that I am going to put these together. So this is the first step, or to put the 2 pieces together. This thing is really large. I think it's about 15 inches when it's finished, and so I know it's a little frustrating. You can't see it all totally on camera. I try my best, but my craft space is only so large and my filming area is only so large. But be sure to either skip to the end or stay to the end, and I will show you the pictures and you get a better sense of it. I'm also going to have a video that shows you what it looks like. I put a flameless candle in there. You definitely do not want to put a live flame in this. This is a paper product. This is going to be for a faux fake candle. So let me just make that very clear. You need to use a flameless candle, and that is what I used in mine. So I'm just continuing here. You can see it's a little hard with the green to see, but there is a tab that you're going to fold down. And so I'm just lining this up, and then I've got the 4 pieces done. So that is the first step, is to put these 4 pieces together, which is going to be the framework of your lantern. Then you need 2 of the square pieces. The die cut will show you. And then there are pictures, which again, I always sing Diamond Press's praises on the visual directions that they give. I'm a visual learner 100%. And it is so much easier for me to see something and then put it together. So that this will be included in the set. And I am going to lay the folded piece, the part that's going to fold up, is going to go inside of my square. I've just got it flipped over so I can really see it, and then you'll see, but it's going to go basically inside. And then the 4 edges, the 4 sides will fold up, glue together, and that gives you your lantern. All right. And I'm just following the instructions. I'm just going to the opposite side here, and then I'm going to finish filling this in. And I sped this up a little bit. I think it probably took me, I would say, definitely about 30 minutes or so to do the cutting and then to do the gluing. And this is the first one I did. When I did the second one, it went even faster, I would say, because I knew what I was doing. I had figured it out a little bit, and so it went faster. The only thing that took a little bit longer on the second one is I did add a little cardinal on there, so I did an additional die cut, and you'll see that. I'll talk about that at the end. But basically, I'm putting these 4 pieces together, and you can see it's large, and then these are going to fold up and glue together. But it's really very simple. I've never seen anything like this in terms of, I've seen some 3D products, but I've never seen a huge lantern that you could make yourself. And now having the Grand Marquis from Diamond Press, they've got some larger dies that they are going to, I'm sure, roll out at some point. And this is the benefit of having a larger machine, is you can have things like this. Okay, so now I'm going to start folding my tabs, and then these 2 tabs are going to come together. Now I'm using liquid glue. I think that's what's recommended in the instructions, and that is what I recommend on this. And I also am going to use a bone folder here. You know, I'm a big fan of a bone folder, and this, it looks a little awkward because I'm having to stand over this. I normally would assemble this sitting down, but I'm trying to videotape this, so it's a little awkward looking, but it's very easy to put together. But I would, you know, if I was sitting, I would be kind of assembling it while I'm sitting down. But I'm standing above it, so it takes me a little bit to kind of get the edges pressed together. But putting it on its side helped, and then taking that bone folder too will allow me to kind of get in there where my hand cannot reach, okay? And then you want to put the tops together after you put the base together, I believe, are the correct instructions. I think I actually followed the instructions on this, which I oftentimes do not do. But I think I did actually pay attention and follow the instructions. So you want to get the main body of it together, and you can see I'm being very generous with the glue. You know, I'm an over gluer, and it looks like it's really not going to come together. It's going to be a little rickety. It is not rickety at all. I can say that once I got those 4 sides together, this thing is solid. I was so pleased with that, how solid it is. It's nice and heavy and sturdy. And then I think I could see doing so many things with this. You know, lining your stairs at Christmas time and putting some flameless candles in there to decorate, and then hanging a string through there, or the ribbon that's included, and tying them up outside and putting a light source in there. Just, I think, so many fun things you could do with this. And obviously you can do it any color you want. It's completely customizable because it's a die, and you can use whatever paper you have that would fit. Okay. And you really don't need the biggest paper. I think I used 8.5 by 11, and if I remember it, I was able to do some of the pieces on half of the cardstock, you know, the smaller pieces, and so it didn't require as much cardstock as I thought it would initially. Okay, so that's another benefit as well. So if you have a smaller cardstock, you know, that fit the dies that you wanted to use, you could certainly do that. Okay, so I'm going around and getting my sides together here. And I'm going back and pressing some of the edges that I missed a little bit on there. And so I'm just kind of working around, taking my time and making sure everything adheres. In a perfect world, I would let each little section dry before I moved on, but I didn't. So, I mean, I tried to let it set up pretty good. But if you, in a real world scenario, you might spend a little bit more time letting it dry in between and moving on to something else. All right, so I'm just coming back and fixing any little bits here that I might have missed, and then I'll use my bone folder at times too to kind of get it pressed together. All right, and then there's the bone folder that I mentioned, which I love my bone folder because it gives me that extension of my hand, and then also gives me some good pressure in places that I might not reach in there. And you can see how nice and sturdy looking that is, and it really is very sturdy. And then you're going to fold, sorry, my hand's really close here and a little out of focus. I told you it's large. So you're going to fold the tops back so they will come in together, and then the little tabs will go kind of in, what I'm going to call the tabs. And then that gives you that shape where that triangle comes together and meets. Okay? So we're making good progress here, and then I've got the tabs that I will fold in and start going around one by one and gluing those together. Let me get this last one folded down. And then the tabs, it tells you to put the tabs together. The two tabs will go together. And so I'm going to fold that in, and you can just see how this is going to come together nicely. All right. And you just kind of work it together, and then it just, as you go around, it pulls kind of closer and closer together. But it's really easy. I was so surprised that this die set is able to transform into this huge lantern. I mean, that's pretty cool. And I suspect that this will be very, very popular for sure on craft day. And especially, I didn't even have a time to make any cards with it, but I think I'm going to try and make a card soon with some of the dies that are included. You could use them additionally. So yes, you get this awesome lantern die, and then you get all these additional dies as well. Okay. So I think the only thing that I did is I trimmed down this tab just the tiniest bit because it was coming through a tiny bit into my view. And so I just nipped the four of them on the top. It was just a little bit over, and so I just nipped that down to fix that. If you're using the vellum that's included, there are all these, I haven't even talked about that, I'm sorry, I know I'm just going on and on. There's so much I want to talk about with this. And the vellum is included. They have it cut to shape, so the vellum will go behind one of the panels on each of the panels. So I'm going to call the panels the lower part. And then the top section, there is a piece that goes in there that fits, and then there's also a smaller piece that fits the top. So they thought of everything to complete this lantern. All right. And so again, I'm just making my way around. I know there's a lot of movement going on here, but it's just the only way you can kind of do it. And you got to move it around and get your hand in there. And again, like I said, I was standing up over it. So I'm trying to look over it and then make sure I get everything and get the glue in there and not over glue and clean up. But it is so much fun. So I made 2 of them, like I said, and I really want to make a few more. I think they would be really fun at Christmas time, obviously. You could put them in a bedroom, and it could be kind of a night light with the Christmas theme in there, and with the cardinal and such in there. Just so sweet. But they thought of every little detail on here. So now I'm making my way around, and I've got this last one that I think I'm on the last one now that I'm going to put in there, and you just kind of tuck it in there, and it comes together beautifully. The angles of it works great. Okay. And so sturdy, really just, I was so impressed with the sturdy. So I just need to make one little nip there on that one, and then I'm ready to put this together. And I've got glue everywhere. All right, let me get this last one in here, and then I will show you the final product once it is nice and dry. And then again, you can decorate this however you want to. But I would love to know. Be sure and leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about this lantern. I want to know what you think about it. If you think it is something that you would enjoy, and can you think of any other ideas of what you could use this for? Okay. All right. So now I'm getting that last little section in there adhered up, and then this will be finished. And then I'm going to let it dry really, really well. And then I can go back. If there's any spot I missed, I can just add a little drop of glue with my fine tip glue, and then that will be it. All right, so it's looking pretty good. I think I got most of the spots, and just rubbing that really well and making sure that I have some good adhesion there. And fixing any other spots. Oh, there's one more spot. I thought I was done, but there's one more edge. So this top part takes probably the longest part just because it's a little more detailed. And then I've got that last one. I thought I was finished, and I realized that I missed one. So I'm going to finish that one up and try not to get glue everywhere. But also let me know too if you have seen the Grand Marquis and what you think about it. I would love some feedback on that, of what you think is going to be happening with that. It is pretty awesome. All right. So here's the last one, and there's so many new products coming from Diamond Press. I'm going to have some videos on them. I didn't have time to do all of them. So I think I filmed most of them, but I don't know if I'll have time to get them all out there. But hopefully I can get some of them out there that you might be interested in and share some details on that. And then again, there's the trusty bone folder, just helping me finish up that edge. Okay, giving my pressure. You don't want to push too hard like I did because you'll bend it. So that's why I'm using my finger a lot to give some pressure, and then I can put it on the table with the bone folder, and that will give me the pressure I want without bending my paper. All right, so now I think I have all of the edges done, and I'm just taking my time here and making sure that I've got everything kind of filled in, and it looks pretty good. All right. Okay, so there it is. And again, it's so big that it's bigger than my mat. And there you can put your insert in there, your flameless candle. You can see this is about 15 inches with the top on there. Okay. And then it's really, really big and so cute. All right, so here's the second one that I made. I took these dies don't go back on there per se that are included, but I layered them on there, and then I cut the panel with the cardinal again, and I just nipped that out and paper pieced that back on there because I wanted a red cardinal on there. There is a cardinal die that you can assemble. It's a little bit smaller that you can use additionally for this, but this is what it looks like lit up. So this was in my little hallway. And look how awesome that is. That's with a flameless candle. Again, flameless. Do not put a flame in there. Flameless. And so this is it. So be sure to check out all the links in the description. And thanks so much for watching, and happy craft day.